Hello everyone, Kairofu here, and I'm gonna try and make a tutorial video right here for you guys to sort of show you what to expect if you end up in a situation where you are a solo player versus a squad. And to do this, I am going to play a quick match arcade, solo versus squads, in order to put myself in possible situations where I can give you tips and tricks in order to help you survive. You can end up in this situation in many ways, whether you do a full squad and go into squads yourself and end up on your own after your teammates die out and you still have to survive through the rest of the match, or if you choose to do solo versus squads yourself. So hopefully these tips and tricks I will give you throughout this arcade, and afterwards will give you a boost when you end up in this situation and help you survive in situations where you may otherwise have not. To give early context, a good thing to always do, especially if you're going in automatically as a solo versus squad member, is always play defensive. Never try to go for an offensive type of gameplay, because yes, you might end up with a few kills, but ultimately you'll probably end up in a spot where you're surrounded and you will die early on in the game. If you're in a classic, you will immediately want to try and jump out, fly as far as you can, and find a car and see if you can drive around the edge of the circle and get as much loot as you can, and then pull yourself out for the rest of the game. Here in the arcade, I'm simply starting to basically do that, except instead of finding a car, I'm going to try to get myself to a decent corner of the map where I feel like I won't be cornered in the beginning of the game. By the way, this is a voiceover. I originally recorded and said just about nothing throughout the entirety of the game as I tried to focus on staying alive. So instead, I'm going to talk you through what I did here, give you an idea of what was going on inside of my head as this was going on. So as you see, I always usually choose to pack 2 automatic guns. Whether it's an AR or a submachine gun, I always find to have 2 automatic gives you a good chance if you run out of bullets mid-shot to quickly switch and shoot with the other gun without hindering yourself. Yes, this does keep you from having an 8-time scope on something such as a Car 98, which are good for one-shot kills if you hit the headshot, but then again, if you need to switch weapons, you do not have one that allows for you to do a close battle. So having the 2 to switch between is a very important aspect. Okay, getting back to the game. Here I'm basically scoping out people around me. I noticed no one was nearby, so I made my break to try and get into the next circle while looting along the way. I'm trying to, as much as I can, to stay out of any line of sight of possible windows, and while looting, always usually crouch and sort of get an idea of the situation, see where people are, where they might be. I quickly tried to get into this window to get a better idea of locations around me. I heard someone close by, so I'm checking to make sure, 1, if they're alone, trying to hear for more sets of footsteps, and 2, to see if I can spot their location, so I can be ready to shoot them if need be, or figure out if I need to hide and wait them out. Because the important thing right here is, just I realize the map is closing in, but it's the worst thing to try and rush out. Because if you were to try and rush out, it's possible people that are still behind you and waiting for the zone to close in are going to get you from behind, and it's a quick way to die. So I'm just waiting out the zone, seeing if this guy makes a move, which he does, and I would have killed him if I stuck with it, as you see here soon. But this is what you don't want to do. If I would have stuck with it, I could easily had him right there. But I did not. And now I have to move. If you do give away your position like that, move out of the way, so no one knows where you are again. Because most people by then will figure out where you are. And if you're solo, don't want to give yourself away to possibly even your team. This is a team of 2 here. I didn't realize it at first. I originally thought that he was trying to kill that guy there. But me being smart, I wasn't going to try and take the kill immediately. Because that's one thing you don't want to have to worry about when you're solo versus squads, picking up those kills. Because that will most likely end up getting you killed in the first place. So you sort of just want it to play out. See if you can draw him out and let him heal his teammate, or go ahead and see what kind of offensive moves you have. First squad I was out here early on with that terrible shot. I used cover to my advantage, and I ended up securing the kill, which I then figured out. See right there, 2 kills. Did end up killing the other guy, because I took out the entire team. If you do choose to pick up a gun such as the DP or this one, which I can't seem to remember the name of, but if you do choose one of the big submachine guns, be very watchful of that reload time, because that can get you in bad situations if you're having to reload near the middle of a battle. Which is why I say always pack the second AR or submachine gun to prepare yourself in those cases, so you can quickly switch over and finish off wherever you need. Here I misjudged the zone a little bit. I thought I was inside of it, but didn't pay enough attention. Try to keep low, try to sort of follow the edge of this, wait it out, let other people shoot. As I start to hear people shoot, I realize I have an opening, and I shoot for it. And luckily, no one else was around, and everyone's up on that hill. So I got to cover safely and made a good break. It's always important when you're choosing to do solo that you always have good cover. Keep yourself unseen and unheard as much as possible, and you automatically have the advantage over any squads that are out there. Especially if you can hear where they are and they have no idea where you are. Here, what I'm going to do is what a lot of people do, and probably a common sense move, is I'm going to rotate around the map, choose a place with the most cover. I'm guessing they were up there. So I decided I was going to try to keep my cover and run around the side of the circle to get into the next one. Always running straight forward into the circle is not always a great idea. While it will get you into there, it'll also probably allow a lot of people to see you. You don't want to put yourself in the open if you can help it. Especially in Miramar, where you have mostly open ground and rock and desert, and you have to find places of cover over hiding in the grass, which happens to be a little bit here, but mostly in Erangel. You'll find the grass, and that's the kind of tactic you'll want to use then. Even here, I would have preferred not to have to crawl around, because you're still an open target. It just gives less of an idea of where you are. Here I notice a few people up on the hill. A lot of times I choose not to take shots in this situation, because I don't want to give away my position. But seeing as there was only 4 other people left, I decided if I took out this team of 2 right here, I could best my chances and only leave 2 others left. Because I first noticed that there was only 2. And second, I decided to then take the course of action to shoot. So I had an idea of both their locations, to be able to make a smart decision on where to shoot. Here is where things go downhill a little bit for me. I see this guy jump out the window here. He gets shot, but I failed to see where he was getting shot from. Where now that I look at it, I would have known he was in the grass over here. Even though I looked, he is in those bushes. And I failed to look at that, and I have no idea how he didn't see me this entire time. My best bet would have been to lie down and work my way into the grass myself, but instead I stayed up and eventually he found me. He was hiding there in the ghillie suit, and I was not able to see him. But I hope you get the gist. And what I did basically through the rest of this video is try and cover other scenarios. So while I'm voicing over now, I might as well get to those ideas as well. So first off, if you find yourself in a situation where you're inside a house, either you're looting or you're just sort of hiding out and playing defensively, and you happen to have a group of 3 or 4 run across you. This is probably one of the worst situations to be in, and your best bet is if you are in a 2-story house, you want to always try and take the top floor. At this point, you want to stay completely quiet. Hopefully, by now, they haven't heard you and you haven't moved. If they have not, you have a huge advantage. Pick a room with a window, at least one window, if best 2, gives you 2 different angles, and then just hide. See if you can get a good view in third person. If you are in third person, where you're not visible, but yet you can see out the windows, and see if you can tell where they're coming in from. They are then going to run in and try to loot the building. This means they have no idea you are there. You immediately have the advantage. They're most likely going to split up, and you're going to have 1, maybe 2 at most, come into the room. Your goal is to try to at least knock 1. If you're feeling ambitious, feel free to finish him, but your smart decision would be to leave him down and jump out a nearby window. Why? Because at this point in time, they will know your location. I'm guessing they're all using a voice chat, especially if you were in Crown League like I have been recently, where a lot of them are all talking in voice chat and are communicating to each other and planning things out. He will immediately say, hey, this guy was in the house. He is in this room. If you jump out the window, you immediately lessen your chances of them having an idea of where you are. And what you will want to do is see if there's anyone still left outside, possibly shoot them down. If there isn't, look and see if you can see anyone inside of the building. And from here on out, you will want to start jumping in, possibly out of windows, to see if keep yourself from being, your location from being known. The less they know of where you are, the better you are of survival. Because they're going to try and be hunting you. So if you can stay hidden and have them come to you, you can finish them off one by one. So at this point in time, a teammate is most likely healing them. You'll mostly have either 1 or 2 people actually coming after you while the other's trying to heal their teammate and revive them after you knock them down. So this is your best bet of coming back and taking them. If you are, say, in an open area and you're towards the end of a game and you're either laying in the grass in Erangel or you are lying down somewhere in the rocks in Miramar, what you're going to want to do is try to get as much cover as you can. Either find as much grass or as much rock cover, if you're in Miramar, as possible. And you want, if you can, to have your back to the zone, so that way you're pretty sure no one's going to come up from behind you. This is risky because yes, the zone can move farther in and you could end up having to move farther up, but this keeps you from having to worry about people sneaking up from behind. Then what you're going to want to do is you're going to try to scope out the enemy's location. If you see 1 or 2 people and they do not see you, try not to shoot at them. Your best bet is to have other teams take each other out, and then you take out what's left. However, if you do end up with a team of 3 or 4 at the end of the game, then stay as hidden as you can, see if you can scope out all of their positions. Once all of their positions are scoped out, then you can decide what the best move is for you to take them out one by one. Because otherwise, if you were to just randomly start shooting at one person, you give away your position, and then you're likely to be shot down. The more you are to know where they all are and quickly finish them off is your best bet, or to finish one or two, hide, recoup, reload, and then finish off the last two, who will most likely be panicking running in, or laying and trying to figure out where you are. I think that covers most of what I wanted to go over. I hope you enjoyed these tips and tricks, and I hope they help you out in the future. There are many other situations that could possibly happen as well, and I know I did not cover them all. And I hope that in future videos I'll be able to come back to these as well, because I do run a lot of solo versus squads, and I actually have videos of me in situations where I've had to face squads and have survived. If you follow these rules, you'll have a higher success rate. Even though you may not always succeed, your success rate will increase, and hopefully you will find that you'll be able to take on squads using these tips and tricks, if you did not already know them as well and have just been listening to me ramble. But anyways, I hope these will be useful to you in future matches. If you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comments, and hopefully I'll get to those in future videos as well, or I will comment them to you specifically. As for now, I hope to see y'all in the next video, and until then, see ya!